Fishermen can have love for the truckie. Beautiful minds, but we love getting ugly. Risk takers with a clover, man, we love getting lucky. You run, we chase fire, I love when it ducks me. Tones go off, house watch, read the address out. 1075, get up off the magic couch. 500 gallons prepared for the baddest drought. Who else you want on the way when disaster's out? Can't even get a little bit rattled when you enter with exit apparel. Mayday, member down, they'll drag you. You won't get this from every Tom, Dick, and Harold, but here's a view from the top floor with Mickey Farrell.
Victim removal versus sustained advantage. Now, we have programmed young firefighters to be robots on so many levels, so many accounts, where we're finding probies give transmissions of finding victims and saying, I'm bringing them down the interior stairwell. In reality, they're on the roof and they found a victim in a bulkhead. It's not reality, it's not practical, it's not realistic whatsoever. However, sustained advantage, sheltering in place. That's a tactic that we don't learn. We don't train on in the academy. If you find someone and you just went through the gates of hell to get to that room, well, just close that door and say, ladder one, irons to ladder one. I have a victim upstairs bedroom. I'm going to shelter in place, get water on the fire, let me know. Have that communication. But sheltering in place is a tactic that's not covered on, it's not drilled on. It is something to talk about and practice during your trainings. I cut the video before she fell to her death. VEIS. It's not a form of search. Even though every platform on Instagram professionals will tell you, the Facebook Fire Department will tell you about it, FDIC will teach you about it. The fire industry makes books that sell tests that says I instead of V and V says S and this and that. None of it makes sense. What's the most important thing we do on the fire ground? We save lives. So why the most important thing we do on the fire ground? They put the acronym, the last letter. My search starts the second that rig turns the corner and I'm looking at that building. I'm searching my way off that rig. Anyone out the windows? Did anyone jump out the windows in the bushes or into the garbage? You're searching your point to entry. So we search our way up the fire escape. We search our way with that portable ladder. We're searching. Then we're venting. Then we're entering. Then we're isolating. Isolation. Again, every professional out there will tell you when you come in a window, go close that door, the first thing you do. How many times have we heard this? In reality, we're searching our way to that point of isolation. And if conditions allow you to continue that search, you're not closing that door right away. You're coming in off that window. You're dumping in. You're here. Hips aligned. Conditions are pretty good. It's smoky. No heat. I'm going to search my way. I'm going to get that bed real quick. Bed's good. Now I'm going to get to the door of that isolation. And they tell you what now? Take your Halligan and sweep the hallway. Close the door and continue your search. You have to commit to that hallway. Now, I understand. It's so much easier to stand on stage and talk about this than to actually do this, because half the battle, again, is going back with that portable ladder. Getting it into position, having the confidence to do that. Again, remember, it's just the bridge to gain position. Don't overthink that. That's not the task. The task is not closing that door. The task is venting, but it's venting to assist this, the search. So we're searching. We get to the point of isolation. This is the hallway. I'm on my belly. I come out as far as I can go. I reach, boom, got someone. Drag them back in, close the door. Sizing up your victims, so incredibly important. Eighth fire. People are trapped. Is VES dangerous? Do you think it's dangerous? Now, the fire ground's dangerous. However, I do think that VEIS is the safest form of searching we're doing because we're coming in from an area of outside that's no heat, no smoke. We're coming in, we're creating our own entrance and our own exit. We're searching our way, we're isolating that fire from the room we're in. Conditions will get better, and we go back out. So is it dangerous? Everything we do is dangerous, but there's a big thing with the fire service, especially in the smaller academies. They're telling you that we're not teaching you VEIS because it's dangerous and they don't want to be liable for when you go back to your fire department and get killed. This is small academy shit that I've heard. Sizing up victims, though. So we get that person, we get him back in. We close the door. 3 a.m., and I realize I have the feet of a 30-year-old woman. Where do you think she's going? Get the kids, right? Make the push for the next room. That's where she's going. The details. Flip it around. I come in. I got one. I bring in. I close the door. We're going to shelter her in place. I have the head in my lap of a 30-year-old woman. Where's she coming from? Kids' room. Make the push. Go down the hallway. Thoroughly search. Probably had her kids in her arms. Went down. If there's one kid, there's probably two. I had that fire. Turns out, it's a 30-year-old man. Happened to be frozen in time, melted into the hallway floor. I had no shot at getting him, but that sticks with me for the rest of my career, probably the rest of my life, of thinking about if I was only a little bit quicker, if I could have got there a little bit more intelligently. Maybe not following the acronym, thinking about the steps of getting there. Searching is the job. VEIS is simply the path in which we do to do our job. So don't get caught up with the social media and the testing and the fire industry with the VEIS. It's simply what we do. We're just searching. We're coming in from a different point of entry into the fire building and doing our job. Again, aggressive firefighting is what? Simply being good at our job. And that's Bob Presler. I'm not going to take credit for that. Quick story, we were teaching in Alabama together at dinner. And Bob Presler, if you don't know who Bob is, he's a retired fireman from New York City. Legendary guy on our job, reddest man. So he's asked me a question and he says, what's aggressive firefighting to you? He's got this big mustache, you know. And I'm like, oh, I got this. This is a test. I'm going to nail this one. And I gave him some bullshit like, it's mistakes and humble this and humility and all this bullshit, right? And he was like, yeah, it's pretty good. He's like, isn't it just about doing your job? And the light bulb went off. It is. Aggressive firefighting is just being good at your job. It's putting water on the fire. It's getting the searches done. It's not overthinking all these stupid acronyms we have, testable points that are programming young firefighters for failure because we can't translate what the acronym is to real life because there's no experience in between. Now, outside vent. That's our OV. For you guys, whoever's on the outside of the building opposite the line. So heavy fire and arrival, because of lithium-ion batteries all over New York City now, I'm sure it has made the news down here at one point, right? That we're getting this more often than not. Because when these batteries are failing, there's such a concussion behind them, they're blowing out windows, and now we're having heavy fire on arrival in the middle of the afternoon. Something we haven't seen in New York City since the 80s, energy-efficient windows. That changed the game in firefighting. Today, the batteries have reversed that. They're exploding and blowing these windows out. So at one time when we used to snuff the fire out, now we're having heavy fire and arrival. So for our outside vent firefighters are making these decisions, those tactical decisions, they're coming to me now and saying, hey boss, what are we doing at these fires? I got there was heavy fire. I felt like I had nothing to do. But if you see this guy in the fire escape here, I'm not saying anything bad about him as an individual, but we're seeing this more often than not where young firefighters are frozen in time because they don't know what the next step is. We have all these steps laid out, but something that we haven't talked about because it's kind of new for this next generation is having heavy fire and arrival. What they used to do was very different. So in this moment here, when you get there, that internal clock's ticking, tick, 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 tick. When you feel like you're not doing anything, that you're probably doing something wrong in that moment, you are. It's time to pivot. You have to move. It's just like a game of basketball. When you're standing in the queue too long, all right, violation, right? Same thing. You have to keep moving. On the fire ground, you can pause for a few seconds. Someone's always counting. Your officer is counting. The officer on the other side of this fire searching that apartment is expecting you to be in that apartment. If you can't get there, you have to pivot in the moment and get in that apartment. If not, you have to notify your officer. Say, hey, boss, I can't make it. So what do we do here? Forward-thinking tempo. And that tempo, we have to maintain it. But having an off-centered way of looking at things. And that tactical breath will allow you to realign your flow state, just like this firefighter did in Harlem one night. That's a separate apartment there. It's not in the books. That's not written anywhere in any tactical book. However, by understanding the game, the IQ of firefighting, he got there, he realized. Watch him pause. Gets up, pokes his head in there, sees what's going on. Says, yeah, that's not happening. Pause, got his tools, and he dipped in here. To get into that fire apartment where his boss is expecting him to be. Waiting here for water on the fire and then gutting in, again, searching for dead people. You have to be able to make that decision, trust your instinct, and pivot in the moment. So situational awareness, again, something that the fire industry really loves. Situational awareness. They sell a lot of books about this. It's probably on every test, probably about 40 classes at every conference across the country. Situational awareness. Perception of environmental elements within an event. However, we gather, we understand, we anticipate the action. But situational response, that's the game. The actions in which we take during a stressful event, and every single fire we go to has a level of stress. It's being able to identify that stress and pivot and maneuver within the moment. The X's and O's of firefighting, the firefighting IQ. That's where you make the game-winning decisions. That's professional firefighting.